everything in the box. Honestly, it's really not that much stuff, but the phone is so exciting. So I've been using it at this point for like 10 hours. So here's everything that I've noticed so far and everything that I think you need to know before you buy one. Also, I've been shooting stuff since like 7 a.m. and it's now like midnight. If you need any proof, just look at me. So I apologize for this, but let's just move on and talk about the build, because on the outside, it doesn't look like there were that many major changes since Fold 2, but there actually have been some pretty significant ones. So the first one is in the IPX8 rating. That means that this phone is water resistant for fresh water. So stuff can still get in, but now the internals are sealed off. But the X part of that rating means that this phone does not have dust resistance. And that's honestly been one of the major things that Samsung has had to focus on since launching the Fold. They still have like the mini sweepers in the hinge to try to get rid of dust, but this is definitely not the phone that I would take with me like while going to the beach. It is like a pretty major improvement though to have water resistance. Another durability improvement is that the screen is 80% stronger now, and that's mainly because they've actually changed the protective cover material from TPU to PPT plastic, and it's still plastic, but it actually feels like a major difference. Like, it feels much harder to the touch. The plastic from years past has kind of felt like a little mushy underneath. This feels a lot closer to like what actual glass would feel like. So that feels like a pretty significant improvement actually. That said, you can still definitely feel the crease in the middle, and you can also see the crease depending on what angle you're looking at it from. But when you're looking straight at it, it kind of disappears a little bit. It's a little bit less noticeable, but it's definitely still very much there. Because of the increased durability on the inner display, there's actually now an S Pen for the Fold 3. So it's called the S Pen Fold Edition, and this pen will start out at $49.99 and be $79.99 with the case. So it's not included with the Fold, but it's specifically designed for the Fold, both the frequency and then also the tip. So the tip like auto retracts as to not damage the display, which means that you can't use the S Pen, for example, that came with the Note. You'll actually get an error message on screen telling you not to do it. If you're looking for a S Pen that can be used on both the Fold and the Note, then the S Pen Pro is the right option for you, and that one is going to be $99.99. And because it's a powered pen, you can actually switch between different frequencies. So like there's a little toggle on it, and that's how it works with both the Fold, but then also other devices. And it's backwards and forwards compatible. So it will work with like Notes from past years, but then also this. And also another perk of it is that you get gesture controls and other Bluetooth power features that you just don't get with the S Pen Fold Edition, because that does not have the power input. Both of them have the 9-millisecond delay, which is pretty great, but I've heard from other tech YouTubers that the auto retractable tip makes it feel not as nice when you're writing. They said for a writing experience, you're probably still going to want to go with the Note, and that it doesn't feel as satisfying or as precise on the Fold 3. Another major design difference this year is actually this, the under display camera. So this to me kind of feels like a play of Samsung trying to put like innovative tech in a very expensive device. But I think that there are some compromises, like very clear ones that came by doing it. So I'm going to show you what photos actually look like from this under display camera, and then also talk through it. So the under display camera is a 4-megapixel camera. Yeah, 4 megapixels. And the way that Samsung is kind of hiding it underneath the display is using AI technology. So it fills in 1 and 4 pixels, and then it kind of uses AI to be content aware and try to do its best to blend in. And in certain areas, it actually works really well. Like for example, on this dark wallpaper, it looks pretty decent, but anytime you're on like a more light wallpaper, it shows up a lot more noticeably. And I honestly don't really see the huge advantage of doing this, because it honestly complicates a lot of different things. So now when you take photos, you're obviously using a camera that's underneath the screen, so it's not going to be nearly as clear. So Samsung has to process the images to dehaze them and add some sharpness back. But there's no sugarcoating it. It does not look great. It's pretty soft. It often looks like cartoonish, and it also really looks like you've applied like a very heavy filter to your picture, even though you haven't. Plus, like 4 megapixels just isn't a lot to begin with. And Samsung's argument here, or the reasoning behind why they did this, is that that camera is like the least important one on the device. Like most people are going to use the outer camera or the main camera for selfies. But I think what is a clear miss is the fact that people are doing video calls all the time right now. And if you have the choice between doing a video call on a smaller screen or a bigger screen, most of the time you're probably going to pick the bigger display, which then means that you're going to be using the worst camera. So the person on the other end is going to get kind of a crappy, less good image quality version of yourself. I'm obviously going to do like camera comparison videos to compare these to other smartphones and kind of see how it performs in a lot of different lighting conditions, like outdoors, low light, tons of light, things like that. So definitely stay tuned for that. But overall, while I think the AI tech is really cool, like sometimes it works really well and it blows my mind, most of the time I feel like that coolness is not worth the image sacrifice. The other cameras hardware-wise are actually really not different from the Fold 2. Samsung is saying that the main image quality differences are going to come in the fact that they're going to process the images a lot better this year. But I actually asked Samsung, like, okay, so does that mean that the Fold 2 will look good too? And there's this potential that the Fold 2, when it gets an update, will be almost the same image quality as the Fold 3. But Samsung is saying that the Fold 3 will look better than the Fold 2 looked at launch. because of the software and processing. So I'm definitely gonna test that, but I am a bit disappointed to see that the camera system isn't updated. That said, the Fold 2 cameras were great, like really, really solid, so it's not the end of the world. And I think it points to the bigger picture that Samsung really cared about two things when making the Fold 3. I think the first thing that they really cared about is durability improvements. In order to make this device go mainstream, you need to give people confidence in the fact that the technology is not going to break. So they have to do that in both feel, like making the hinge feel really good and having the screen feel really good as well, so people don't feel like it's something that they can like break immediately. But then they also have to do it in actual like improvements, like the IPX8 rating and the 80% more durable display. Those are two major wins for this device and two major steps on the progress train. The other main thing that holds most people back from getting a foldable is price. So Samsung also worked in that. This phone is $200 cheaper than the Fold 2 was at launch, and there's a lot of sweet incentives to get like an extra $350 off if you want it. So that's pretty significant. It's still really expensive at $1799. Like that's still kind of a small fortune, but it is bleeding edge tech and it's so exciting, and I think that Samsung knows that that price point is still going to be too expensive for a lot of people. So they're also coming out with the Flip 3. This device is only $999, which is still a lot, but that's in like premium flagship territory now. And I have a full video of this coming if it's not out already. Thanks so much for watching this one and for all your support. Full reviews of both coming, camera comparisons, you know the deal, so feel free to subscribe if you want to. Have an awesome day, get a cold brew, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.